Hi Flosstube, I'm Tamara, the PD Stitcher. This is my channel about cross stitch and sometimes life stuff and other things that just get thrown in, but mostly cross stitch. Today is Sunday, February 2nd. It's Groundhog's Day, and from what I've heard, Punxsutawney Phil did not see his shadow, which means we'll have an early spring. I hope so. January felt like it was about 5 months long, so maybe an early spring will be a change. Welcome back to all of my subscribers. If you're new watching, I'd love to have you stick around and stay and subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button below and also click on the little bell so that you can get notified every time I upload a video. I don't have a regular schedule for making these. It's pretty much just whenever I get around to it. Sometimes life keeps me from making it a regular thing. I meant to do it on Saturday, since the last time I did one was 2 weeks ago on a Saturday. But yesterday I spent most of the day traveling to a town about 3 hours away so that my daughter could play us in a soccer game. But I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. So, finishes. I'm very excited. I had 3 more finishes since the last video. The first one is The Beauty by Creatively Crafting. And this is on 30 count onyx linen. And she was the second called, my second number called on my whip go board. I finished the first one, which was the Enchantress, earlier this month and showed that on the last video. And then I finished The Beauty a couple weeks ago for this one. And so I did both of my January call. Now I want you to see something, and I found this out when I finished her and realized how far over her skirt went on her dress. And you see I was gonna use this fabric to do 2. And I was like, oh, that's okay, I'll just do one on this half and one on this half. But this one, when I do this one, her dress, when I turn her around, is going to come down this way and cross over. So I didn't count that very well or measure it or whatever I should have done, I didn't do. So this is going to become a UFO. I'll have to restart this. But I can always use this little area right down here for a small little pattern, maybe a Christmas ornament. But yeah, I'm just glad I didn't get very much done of this. This is maybe a quarter of her, so I don't have a lot to restart when I restart her. But I was very, very sad when I realized that I had not counted well, and the Beauty skirt went over the halfway mark, which meant that the other one's skirt was probably going to, dress bottom was going to do the same thing. But that's okay. And then I have my second finish. Keep putting my white paper that's supposed to be behind it aside, even though I need to use it again, is the Magical Mermaid. This is also by Creatively Crafting and is on 30 count onyx linen. I absolutely love this. It took me a while to get to where I love this because all of this is metallic DMC light effects, and for a long time I felt like stitching on black and stitching with metallics was of the devil. I found that if I pull it very taut in my Q-snap and have something white underneath with really good light, I can see it very clearly. I can see the holes, I can stitch, and it doesn't stress me out anymore. So that's very exciting that I can actually stitch on black linen now and not become a crazy person, or at least crazier than I am. Then my last finish for January was Winter Wonderland from the Frosted Pumpkins. I was doing a Sal with the Hufflepuff Stitcher. She's doing a seasonal saying Sal. If you haven't seen her videos, go check her out. She talked about how she's going to do, instead of doing a year-long Sal as far as, you know, one of the ones that have a new release every month, she's going to do a different one of the seasonal sayings from the Frosted Pumpkin every month. So I decided to join along with her. In January, I did Winter Wonderland. In February, I'm going to do a different one, since obviously I finished that one. Yay. And I'll talk about that in a little bit when I get to haul, because I had to buy it. I didn't have the pattern that I wanted to do for February. So those are my 3 finishes, and that ended up helping me with my stitch from stash budget, because when you get to haul, when we get to haul, you'll see I got quite a bit of haul in January. So it was nice to have. I ended up with 4 finishes in January to help my stitch from stash budget, and I came out in the positive, which is great, since when I went to Greenville yesterday, I started spending for my February budget. So now I have whips. The first one is Angel of Freedom, and this is on 32 count Sweet Pea Belfast, and this is by Lavender and Lace. This is how far I am. I've almost finished her wreath over here, and then I'm going to start on the bells coming down there. This is what she's going to look like when she's done. So I really don't have much left. I have the whole back part of her dress, and then the little town down here. So I'm hoping to finish her in 2020. That's my goal. That's one of my whip go goals, but that one hasn't been called yet. So I have some time to kind of whittle away on her until the month that she's called, and then maybe I can knock that out the month that the whip go board number is called for her. And then my next whip is Playing with Jacks from the Cricket collection, and this is my C for this 2 weeks for Cricket collection for semi-sane stitchers, with the alphabet soup starting this past Wednesday was C. And so sorry, I'm having a little bit of itching right here. So C is for Cricket collection. Beauty, that I showed earlier, that was my B, and I managed to finish her during those 2 weeks of B. So I'll work on Playing with Jacks for the next 2 weeks. It worked out well, because that was also one of the called numbers. Playing with Jacks is on my whip go board to be finished as my goal, and that was one of the called for numbers for February. So I'll be working on it for semi-sane alphabet soup, and then for my whip go board. And so here's where I am now, and I don't have too terribly much left. So I may be able to finish this in February. I have the back stitching around this middle pumpkin, and then the back stitching around this flower, and then I have one more pumpkin over here, the rest of the border up here and down the side, and then the rest of the leaf and acorn border along the bottom, and I should be able to knock that out. And this is my lovely needle minder from Creatively Crafting, with no needle on it. It's actually stuck to the magnet on the back, because I'm really bad about that. I'll stick it underneath and instead of on the front. I'm not really sure why I do that, but I do it a lot. And then my last whip is Snipe House from Glendon Place, and I absolutely love this. I'm hoping to finish this in 2020, so that in 2021 in January I can display it instead of just stitch on it. But so far I have just the little snowman in the middle, the rest of the feathers hanging out behind my Q-snap. But he's the one in the middle, and then I've started on the snow down here, and I got a whopping 69 stitches done on this yesterday. So I need to get busy, because yesterday was not a good stitching day. Traveling and driving for 6 total hours kind of ate into my stitching time. But I'm hoping to start on this one today. Since the last time I showed this, I've done all the back stitch in this snowman, and then started the snow over there. And now haul. So yesterday I told you I drove to Greenville, which is 3 hours away, for my daughter's soccer game, and went to Panda's Crossing, which is a little local needle workshop there, which we don't have one in my little town. Actually, it's not really a little town. It's kind of big town, but we still don't have a local needle workshop. So the closest one to me is about 2 hours away. I said Greenville's 3 hours away. So this was a little further, but I was heading there anyway. So we got up there a little early. We left here a little earlier than we needed to so that I could stop by there. I got up there with about an hour before she had to be at her soccer field. So we stopped by there and picked up some fancy floss because, like I said, I don't have a local needle workshop here. So in order for me to get some decent fancy floss, and I should have done this before I started, I apologize. But in order for me to get decent floss that's not DMC, I have to either order it or go to a store quite far away. Or I could have joined a monthly group, a monthly floss club, but I did not. I'm trying to do better and just get what I need. And my fear was with joining one, I would still get lots of nice floss, but it wouldn't necessarily be what I would need for a project, and then I'd have to buy more. So what I've decided to do is create my own monthly order or monthly purchase of 5 classic color works. What I need first, and then adding in extras. So this is what I got yesterday. Let's see if I can do this without it blowing the colors out. Here, that looks pretty true to the colors. So I got Pebble Beach, Ruby Slippers, Carrie Berry, and I absolutely love the variegation in that, Reely Teely, and Grasshopper. And here's my reason why. Because I told you I'm doing the seasonal saying stitch along with the Hufflepuff Stitcher, Kayla. And so I purchased Hugs and Kisses. And so I needed, listen to me. I wanted, of course, you all are stitchers, you understand, we need these flosses. I needed the fancy floss for the teal and the pink and the red. So these are the 3 that I got for this project. So I think those colors are gonna look absolutely beautiful together for Hugs and Kisses. The red is a little darker than what this calls for, but I really like the deep red with those 2. And then I picked up Grasshopper because I'm sure that my March, whatever I'm doing for March, will be somewhat clovery, and I thought this would be pretty for clover. And then Pebble Beach I needed for Glitter Village, my Glitter Village houses that I'm eventually going to start back home working. So I needed those. So those were my 5 for this month, for February. I didn't do 5 for January. I'll start with February. So I got those. That's some of my haul. And I got the Hugs and Kisses pattern from the Frosted Pumpkin. And it's a PDF, so I just printed out the cover page. And then I've been starting to work on my Mania Plans. And I've decided that what I'm going to do is for the month of May, I'm going to start something new every day unless I have a current WIP that has a birthday on that day. For example, I have the little glass slipper, which I haven't shown, but I started it on May 10th, 2019. So on May 10th, if I have not finished the little glass slipper by May 10th, I will work on that day instead of starting a new project. But for my new projects, I want to do something to where it's something I can display every month and change out. So I started buying the months from the Cricut collection. So this is January and February and March. And so those were my January purchases. And then in this month, in February, I'm going to purchase April, May, and June. In March, I'll buy July, August, and September. And in April, I'll get October, November, December so that I can have all of 12 before May starts. That way I can kind of spread out my purchases so it's not all at one time. I also got to work on the Hugs and Kisses. I got 28 count Crystal Bashful from Picture This Plus. And I'm going to see if I can get it to where the sun is kind of, if it's hard to see, but you can kind of see the sparkle in that. So I'm hoping that will make it look nice and sparkly. This is kind of a stiffer fabric. I'm surprised because usually it's not. The crystal linen isn't quite as, but I'm sure once I start moving it around, put it in the Q-snap, it won't feel quite so thick and stiff. And then I have 32 count chocolate. I showed you, I have to restart the Evil Fairy. And here's what I discovered with that. All of my creatively crafting princesses that I did, other than the Magical Mermaid, that one I just did on a piece by itself. But all of my others I tried to do on 2 halves without measuring. And so I think I'm going to have to start over about 3 of them. So I got 1 piece to start at least the Evil Fairy, and then I'll have to probably buy more to restart some on the black or dark. I think I like the chocolate. It's not black. It's more of a dark brown, but I think it'll be pretty with the colors in the Evil Fairy. And then I joined Crazy Annie's Stitching Fabric of the Month Club. And of course I couldn't just do 1, I had to do 2. So I got, I'm sorry for the noise, but so this is 32 count linen, Picture This Plus in Heartland. And I love this. This is what, I forgot to say earlier, this is what Playing with Jax is on, is Heartland. So I love it. I love how modeled it is. It's absolutely beautiful as a neutral. And then I also am getting the colors. And so for that one, you'd think I would have thought to take these out before I started the video, but that's okay. This one is Vesper. It's also 32 count, which has become my very, very favorite count of linen. And this, I'm afraid if I bring it, oh yeah, you can see. It is a nice kind of minty green with a little bit of blue, but more green than blue. But see if you can see what color. There we go. That pretty much shows what color it is. But so that's all my haul, which having 4 finishes in January kind of helped with my Stitch from Stash. I don't remember what exactly, it's $9 or something I think that I ended up with to move into February, so that helps. And I'll get to move on from there. So plans. I told you my whip go for February, one of the called ones was Playing with Jax. So I'll be working on that for the next couple of weeks. And then the other one that was called was Clemson University Tigers. And if you remember from my Whip Parade video at the beginning of the year, end of last year, that was one I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. Well, I ended up UFOing it. Well, the version that I have. I'm going to restart it. And so I'll be restarting that. And my goal for that is definitely not to finish it. My goal for that is just to have a page finish, which if I take out some of the parts of it that I've decided I'm not going to stitch, I should be able to get at least 1 page finish this month. If I figure I should finish Playing with Jax by the 14th and then use second half of the month to start on Clemson University Tigers. And I don't have a picture of that printed out to show you, and I don't want to show you what I had been working on because, like I said, I UFO'd that. It's gone. I can't do that right now. So, but I have, between Playing with Jax and the Hugs and Kisses and Clemson University Tigers, I'm hoping I can fit some of those into the homeworks for February for Enchanted Stitching, which this month's plan is, movie is Frozen. So I may be pulling out Snipe House to do some with that too, because that would work right into that. And then in Magical Stitches this month it's the Villain series this month, and it's the one with the Queen from Snow White. So I'm not sure how I'm going to fit my 3 works that I'm working on into prompts for that, but we'll see. And if I don't do a prompt for homework and I just stitch, that's okay. I'm still stitching. It doesn't matter. I have to remind myself of that. If I don't finish all the homework, but I've still stitched, it still counts as stitching. So, well, Flosstube, I think that's everything I have for today. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. I'm hoping to get a good bit of stitching in tonight for the Super Bowl. I'm not cheering for either team. I'm not a big fan of either team. I don't really care who wins. The teams I like didn't even make it to the playoffs or didn't make it to the Super Bowl. So while some of my family are watching the Super Bowl, I'll be stitching. My daughter's in there making Oreo truffles. Well, she made Oreo truffles yesterday that she decorated as footballs. She's dipping pretzels into chocolate to decorate as footballs, and then she's making brownies, and so she's doing a whole bunch of football type foods. So we'll have good food and I'll stitch while they watch football, so it'll work out. Everybody wins. All right, Flosstube, y'all have a good week and be happy, be healthy, and keep stitching. Bye.